Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 replay. This is going to be on Kulos Ravine. I'm spawning as the red Terran in the top right position, and in the bottom right position we have the blue Terran. I haven't done any TvTs in a while, and this is a little bit different of a strategy I'm trying out, so... I know this strategy exists, but I didn't actually intend to do it. I just was forced into it by my opponent's play, so you'll see as we get into this. So, yeah. I gotta say I'm a little bit mind-fucked at this point, because I did just lose 5 straight games, and it felt like 5 games I could have won. It just got sloppy. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, it's facing a lot of muta harass, and I just wasn't handling all the stuff going on in the map well, and yeah, bad things happened. And yeah. So the fact that I rolled a TvT I'm not so happy with either, because TvT is my worst matchup by far. I mean, I'm basically a Gold League player who just made a cool build order, so when I can't use my fast expand build order, all of a sudden I'm actually playing all these players who are so much more skillful than me. So I do see my SCV getting harassed here. I'm like, how'd he get on the inside of my wall? And then, like, oh, he's on the outside of my wall now. Now I understand. Thought when my SCV went over here I was safe, and then I realized I still have no clue how to place buildings, and I didn't actually solid seal this. So, another terrible start. At this point I'm like, screw it, let's get this game over with. I'm going all in Banshee Rush. So I can get my orbital down, get my gas saturate, throwing down my second gas, since it's a very gas intensive build. Well, my opponent is doing a fairly similar build. He's got a factory of his own, so he's teching up as well. And my SCV did not get in, so I do not know what I'm up against. But do I care? No, I don't care. I'm just spending on mules because I'm going all in Banshees. And I'll just cross my fingers it works out. So I do throw the tech lab on my orbital. Kind of serves a dual purpose. May make him fear Reapers if he happens to scout it early, and then also it sets it up so I got a pre-made tech lab for this starport. But I do see this scan, and I'm 90% sure this sees everything. It was well placed. Yep, he sees that starport building on tech lab. He sees a second starport. He must know what's up. At this point, I'm like, shoot, maybe I should actually go for it. Let me scan him, see if he's ready for it. And I scan him. I see he already has a starport, so I'm like, alright, he's going to be ready for it. This sucks. Because if he scans double starports and he has a starport of his own, I must almost assume he's going to be just pumping out a few Vikings to handle me. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to turn this into a mass air build, and there is actually, it is a fair strategy going all air versus a Terran opponent. And that means basically no barracks units, no factory units, no tanks, no Thors, no planetary fortresses, no bunkers. This is just going to be mass air. And obviously the disadvantages of that is like I'm susceptible to everything, but the advantage is I should have air dominance to be able to take over. So instead of starting with Banshees, I'm like, okay, since he's going to be pumping up Vikings, I'm just going to pump out 2 Vikings, see if I can snipe his first one. And that actually worked out pretty well. So he's moving off the starport to get more Vikings, and at this point I am going to start mixing in Banshees. So here we go, 3 Vikings with Banshees, so I got a little bit of air support. However, I am seeing this game moved out. I did have control at Zilnaga, so I'm like, okay, I gotta come back, because obviously my air has to handle everything, including tanks and marines and all that jazz. If you try to get ground defense as well, you just won't have the air army. And obviously you can think of all the disadvantages, but the advantage is I have a very mobile army for TvT. I mean, it's a fast, agile, flying army, so I can do stuff like that. I just completely sniped off a majority of his marines there, and his tanks had no ability to push against me when I have the air dominance. Leaving me a couple SCVs here. I just kind of want to have like this repair bay that I can keep falling back to, because I do want to be very aggressive with this build, constantly come in for harassment. And with 2 more Vikings popping out, this is actually going to be a 5-on-3, so I did sacrifice those Vikings just so I can get my Banshees out of here. shoot, did not hide those SCVs well enough. I had a feeling it was going to fly overhead. So pulling back, but I do have the starport advantage since I am going all in air, so I can just pump Vikings from all these buildings. I can actually pump 4 at a time, so I should be able to get back air dominance soon. But this is like the last place you want to be in. When you're going mass air, you don't want your opponent to have the Viking count to the edge on me. So I'm moving out with some tanks and SCV either to repair or set up air turrets. Did blow my rocks, and I have a command center coming across, so this is in pretty good shape here. I'll soon be at 4 gas, where my opponent is still only at 2 gas. And gas is very important for TvT battles, especially when you're talking about lots and lots of Vikings on the map. The other thing you don't need this match either is missile turrets, as you know he's going to have the ground army and you're going to have the air army, so you don't really need the extra air defense. So in all the things that you're not buying, you actually get a significant edge in the air army. And if you put that edge to use, you can actually stay alive and more or less just harass and smoke your opponent back. And with a good amount of Banshees, they actually have very solid versus ground. So my opponent is out here. You can see the Viking edge is still in my opponent's way. He's got 11 Vikings to my 7, although he only has 10 at the front line. Oh no, there's the 11th, so he does have 11 at the front line. So I did send out an SCV and I saw this getting set up. He's got air turrets as well. I am up to 10 Vikings now, so I'm going to push out, and no upgrades. So I actually don't cloak because I want my Banshees to take some hits here. Which they did, and I think that gave me just enough of an advantage to take over air superiority, as that first wave of Viking hits from my opponent were all directed at Banshees instead of Vikings. Down to just 3 Banshees. I'm not sure if this is actually the smartest idea. But I did take down the air turrets, and I got a very tiny army left, but at the same time I took out his army as well. If you look at the units tab, which I already had up, he just has 2 Marines, 1 tank, and 2 Vikings to my 2 Banshees and 6 Vikings. Also, I have the advantage as I have 4 gas to his 2. I'm getting down my first 2 armories as well. Since this is an all-air army, it makes the upgrades very effective, as it'll affect basically every unit I make.